Gee, I really like video games, but you know what I don't like? Doing this. Putting in cartridges, CDs, needing to buy them separately, and all that baloney. Gosh, if only there were a console that has all the games pre-built into the system. Wow, I wouldn't expect video games to fall this far into irrelevancy. Yes, as you can see, we are going to be reviewing the MyArcade portable video game system 308 and 1. Now, you might be wondering, what the hell is this? Well, to tell you the truth, that's the same thing I asked. But apparently, these systems are actually a lot more common than you would expect. You're able to find them all in like drugstores of all places for $20, like CVS and Walgreens. And this version is actually different because this one, my version, actually has officially licensed Data East games on it. So that's pretty cool. But before we actually get into the games, let's check the layout. So, as you can clearly see, this design is very simple. It has an A and B button, a restart and select button, and of course, a D-pad, which we will get to eventually. While most of these designs usually mimic the original Game Boy, these are a lot more similar to a Game Boy Advance, with its layout and such. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that it's very similar layout to the Game Boy Advance? Well, I stand correct. You see, this is a lot worse than a Game Boy Advance, which is to be expected since it is not Nintendo and it's probably some manufacturer from China or something, but it still has its set of problems. Like, for example, the button layout is really, really wrong. You see, most handheld systems like the Game Boy Advance would usually have like these buttons on their side in something, like they're besides each other. But with this one, the buttons are on top of each other, which means when you're like playing a fast-paced game, you can do something like this and hit both buttons at the same time. So you will have to hold it awkwardly like this, which can have its set of problems because, as you can see, these buttons are really close to the reset button, and if you are playing a game too intensely, you can accidentally hit the button, which can cause you to wipe all of your progress. But the worst problem about this system is this. This D-pad is the worst. Now, you're probably wondering, it looks fine to me, but no, you have to play it to believe it. Like, this feels incredibly mushy, and that's a big problem because the rubber on this is so soft and rubbery that it can actually blister your thumb. So yeah, so far, this doesn't seem too promising. But, the design isn't everything. It's about the games. And whoo boy, it's got games. So when you turn the system on, you will see that it has 308 games built into it. And that's a lot, right? Well, unfortunately, this means 9 out of 10, these games are going to be terrible. And, well, guess what? Like I said, this system has Data East games on it. So, let's check out some of those right now. The first game we're going to be checking out is a game called Bad Dudes. Now, Bad Dudes was originally an arcade game from the 80s, and it was nice and macho. But, unfortunately, this system isn't powerful enough. So, guess what? They use the NES version. And unfortunately, here's one big problem. The NES version is shit. Oh yeah. And here's another problem with this game. The buttons are swapped. A attacks and B jumps. And you should know how it originally goes. But this was the 80s. So back then, this game was cool and macho. Unfortunately, it really isn't today. Next up is Burger Time. Now, we all know what Burger Time is. So how does this game run? Ooh, actually, it actually doesn't run that bad. And I just died. So, as I was saying before I died, this game doesn't actually run that bad, and it's actually a pretty faithful version of Burger Time. But what unfortunately ruins this game is, again, the D-pad. You see, it may look like I'm playing it well, but in reality, this is so bad because of the stupid D-pad. I have to hit down as hard as I can with this D-pad because it's so fucking bad. And again, they are using the NES version of this very famous arcade game because the hardware isn't that powerful. So, yeah. Let's just move on. So far, things don't look too promising for the MyArcade. And you would think, well, it's Data East games, why not review more? Well, there's a problem. There are only 4 Data East games on this system. So, you know what that means. Oh, God. There are original NES-style games. Let's check out a couple. Thunderman. Now, so far, this looks alright, right? Well, if you haven't caught up eventually, this is just a rip-off and sort of sprite change of the NES Batman game from 1989. Yet it's even more shitty. And again, like Bad Dudes, A and B are switched around. Next game. Superhero and oh god. That's an ugly face. So it's another shitty wait a second. Am I playing as a damn car? Oh, there it is. There's Superhero. Why did you start off as a car? What was the point? Anyways, as I was saying, this is another shitty platformer, just like Thunderman. Unfortunately, it's even worse than Thunderman. Only 4 games in, and it isn't looking too promising. Next up, TNT. And it's a Bomberman clone. Of freaking course, it's a Bomberman clone. Except, instead of Bomberman, it's replaced with this hip radical dude with shades and green hair. Oh my god, I am just so tired. Again, Penguin, otherwise known as Nuts and Milk. Yeah, I'm not lying. Most of these games are just going to be sprite changes of famous NES games. I'm just... oh my god. Dune War. I really have no idea what you're supposed to do. I guess the point is to, like, shoot people down, but for some reason, the D-pad doesn't make you move around. You have to move with the B button for some reason. And And the D-pad only aims your gun and A shoots. Again, what's the point? I'm losing any hope that the system will be any good. Sure, it has Data East games, but those Data East games run like shit.
I just want it to be over already.
Heroes Mice. You play as mice trying to save people or other cats from the skies. Oh, but don't touch the dynamite. Hey, at least it's a little more original. But just why? Why does it exist? Amusement Park Jumping Kid. But on the title screen, it just says Jumping Kid. Who honestly cares? You know, in a game about jumping, the jumping fucking sucks. I mean, geez, all you really do is hop over on frogs from lily pad to lily pad near a lake on a playground or something? I don't really know. This is probably where I'm going to have to stop here, because there's just nothing redeemable about this. But there's only one good thing about it, is that this system runs on 4 AAA batteries, and throughout my entire gameplay experience, it was able to go through all those batteries with still some life left. Unfortunately, some of my life was taken. I was just... Like I said, there's nothing redeemable about this bore. Sure, there were some, like a couple games that would have been good, but ended up just being utter failures. I'm Toasty, and I'm going back to cartridges.